Hey, what's going on to all of my Aquarius out there? So let's get into the reading for you. You have the Two of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the Empress, the Queen of Cups, the Star, which does represent Aquarius. So you showed up, so your energy has been printed on the reading. Then you have the Fool, the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and last but not least, you have the Judgment. So a lot of fire, a lot of fire, a lot of scepters, which are wands, right? A lot of sorcery, right? The imprinting of sorcery, because wands can also be used for magic as well, right? That's what the magicians use, their wand. So they could use it as a weapon, they could use it as a walking stick, they could also use it as a tool for magic. But what I'm seeing here for you, Aquarius, right? So you have the Two of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Empress. So this is about how a lot of you Aquarius essentially want to build with want to build with other people. But this is about how you Aquarius don't necessarily want to build with really anybody in your immediate surroundings. I kind of think from what I'm seeing right here, right, that you really don't want that. Because see, you have the Queen of Cups, and then you have the Star card, which represents the person trying to uh hang out with you. And a lot of you Aquarius are like, nah, you just not with it right now. And it's not per se um the person that you may have some sort of hard feelings for, right? It's not like your heart is hardened. What it is that I'm just seeing how a lot of you Aquarius really don't want to really date with the people whom is in your area. I just think that a lot of you Aquarius are like, the area in which you've been kicking it, or maybe even your area is really people that you may be beyond. But see, the thing is that you have the Empress, which is about you have to watch out for thinking that, because what it is that you really want to do is, if you're not meeting anybody, you really want to continue to date in your city. Maybe not even in your city. Maybe you may want to travel. You know what I mean? I'm a big proponent of traveling. The videos coming up about me, not now, but in the future. But I've had a passport ever since I was 4 years old. I'm 31 now, so you know, traveling is definitely a big part of my life. But it's a very powerful part of my life because the Two of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune, right? Um, it speaks to it speaks to it speaks to how it is that a lot of you Aquarius really want change, and that you really want things to go your way, and that you're having problems really understanding why it is that, with all the hanging out that you're doing, trying to get to know people, why things aren't really going your way. Why aren't you getting someone, at least one person, depending on what you're into, that you are a good match with? And again, I've been telling y'all in a lot of these readings, because it really is true, because it really is that severe. This is what it is that we have out here. We have the vast majority of people that make up dating are delusional, dysfunctional, you know what I mean? Dramatic people, right? The 3Ds: delusional, dysfunctional, dramatic. And that's the situation. A lot of people out here, because the truth is this, is that one party, right? One party is essentially, I'm not going to get into the politics of it. I'm just here to tell what it is. But one party, thinks that just because, they making a certain amount of money, which I can prove that they always had the right to make money, and that they had the right, or they have the right, which they always have. I can prove that, to be college educated, that now all of a sudden they're smarter and they're better. And it really kind of shows that, they're not really used to having a whole lot, because they're getting things that they really, and it's proof. And I'm going to drop a link down below that proves my point, that they really always had this, but for some odd reason they think that they didn't. And then now they're essentially going on this crusade. So now that they're in a position to have more than what it is that they think that they never had for some reason, or what they think that they're used to or they could have had, now they want even more. They want to go on the up and up, right? They want to step up. They want to step up their game. But what they're not realizing, what that same party is not realizing, is just because they're stepping up their game physically or financially does not mean that they're stepping up their game on a soul level. So here's a trick of the Kabbalah. The trick of the Kabbalah is, the higher you go up the tree is the more you actually begin to lose your soul. So the catch-22 of that is, this is why it is that I say that the tarot is very tricky, and only a select few, or I should say a couple of million people really who really, but then when you really think about it, right, I would say something like 10 million. But when you compare that towards 7 billion people, that's not really a whole lot of individuals when you compare it towards 7 billion, right? So I would say really only 10 million people really understand how tricky the Kabbalah is. But what am I saying? I'm saying that because that's exactly how the Tarot system, i.e. the Kabbalah system, it's the same thing, works. And the same thing, that the way that one party in the dating game is working. They're going up, they're taking all these steps up, but what they're not realizing is, you're taking this step up, but you need to be very careful about all this stepping up and climbing up this ladder and stepping up. If that's what it is that you want to do, okay, fine. People should get out of your way. No one should ever tell you what it is that you should or you shouldn't want. Okay, I respect it, not a problem. But just know that you're losing your soul as you get higher and higher and higher. And only a select few of people who really know what they're doing can actually maintain their soul as they go higher. So, and then the other party, to kind of wrap this up, is the other party is kind of predicating what the other party is doing with their time, and they don't want to upgrade. They don't have self-respect. They don't want to live their life. They don't want to enjoy it. They're looking at it from a perspective of the measurement of who they are, right, is based upon somebody else. And that's a terrible way to think, because that's part of the reason why a lot of us is in the predicament that we in now, because that's an awful way to think. How is somebody, how is, I remember what some of my teachers used to tell me, and some of my teachers used to always tell me, if my so-called friends jumped off of a bridge, do I have to go with them? And that's the same analogy. What does them making terrible decisions independently have to do with me making a terrible decision? I can choose to decide, or that party can choose to decide to not rock with it, and decide to remain independently, in the sense of maintain their decency and respect and just continue to upgrade. But they're not doing that. So I'm saying all that to say, this is what the dating pool consists of. So then you have the fool. And then the fool represents how, you know, first and foremost, the fool represents Pluto in conjunction with Aquarius. So because the truth is that the fool represents the top of the Kabbalah tree, aka Kether, aka Pluto, but it also represents the zodiac sign of Aquarius. Because the trick is, and this is why, as I keep trying to tell y'all, You need to go to people who know what it is that they're doing, or don't. But it's up to you, because because the top of the tree, aka the Fool, aka the most powerful card, and the Abyss are right. The Abyss that I keep talking about, that I will do a video on, is actually interchangeable. So they're actually interchangeable. So what it is that happens here is this is the reason why it is that the Fool is standing right over the cliff, right, right above the precipice, right, right where the water is essentially, no, that ain't water. Excuse me. That's mountains. Excuse me. I thought that was water. Right where the other mountains are in the backdrop, because this is a cliff right here, and what it represents is the abyss, right? And it's showing you that the Fool is a higher version of what the abyss is. So if you can't stand the responsibility, accountability, there's no way that you're going to get power. Why? Because, and I will make a video, accountability and responsibility is quite literally the same thing. But what does this have to do with anything? Well, what this has to do with is the fact that you have to keep in mind, right? The abyss. You have to keep in mind that this is what it is that we have out here. The vast majority of people are caught up in their own BS. And it's not up to you to fix it. It's not up to you to be out here trying to run game, because then that draws you into the BS. And then it goes from being the Fool version of what the Fool should be for you, which is empowerment and power and freedom. Because remember, the Fool laughs at everything and at everyone. The Joker, right? Because the Fool is the wild card, right? That's what the Fool is called in playing cards, the wild card, the unpredictable force of reality and nature, chaos, right? That part of the source that people will never quite actually know about, except for the individuals that actually become that um entrenched into it themselves, and they become, they develop that part of themselves, right? Chaos, right? So as a result, or it can become a part of you in that sense, or you can become a part of it, of the abyss, the nihilism, the nothing, there's no point, the sad, the depression part of it. You don't want to do, you Aquarius don't want that. So what you Aquarius want to do is you want to become the empowering aspect of the Fool. And how you do that is by understanding, acclimating your mind to the idea that this is what we got out here. The Queen of Wands and the King of Wands, you have King and Queen, and they're in the wrong position. They should actually be like this. But and the Wands is still is in the incorrect direction in their hands. So these two cards right here represents how it represents, like I said, it just gives a better picture to the type of relationship that we have out here. Types of relationships that we have is dysfunctional. And this represents how you Aquarius can be in a relationship potentially even now, but you know that it's not necessarily the correct relationship for you. Or it can represent, even if you Aquarius are not in a relationship, it can represent a potential relationship, or you seeing relationships as being quite dysfunctional, that doesn't really bring a whole lot of benefits to you, even though you may be bringing benefits and ideas to them, right? And then you have the Ace of Wands and the Judgment for you, Aquarius. So you Aquarius happen to be in a situation where the next thing that that you have to understand is that what, so how do you turn things into your favor? I'm going to give you the secret of how you do that. You turn things into your favor. You turn the relationship dynamics into your favor by inverting the inversion. Because what is an inversion? An inversion is to pervert something by twisting it, right? Contorting it, right? Skewing it. So how do you unskew the skew? You skew it. You skew the twisting. That's how it is that you revert it back to the natural state of where it should be, right? on to its, you let it run its natural course. So the Ace of Wands represent here that you have two choices. You can either like the Fool, right, go through the dysfunctional interactions with people, or you can skew the inversion, which will actually set things back, or should, if you know what you're doing, should, doesn't mean that it always is a good idea, but it should revert things back to the natural course. And then you have the Judgment. The Judgment represents, and one of the ways that you can start doing that is by putting to rest any relationship that does not work. Any kind of relationship where you're getting to know the person, you're trying to get to know them, and it's like pulling teeth. It's really hard to get to know them. It's time for you to bounce, because there's no point in it, right? Let's clarify the Fool. Let's clarify the Fool, right? So you have the Eight of Cups, the Strength, and then you have the Hermit. To draw another one, the Justice, right? So the Eight of Cups is about this being a situation for you where um people potentially leaving a situation, you're leaving a situation. More than likely, it does represent you, because the Fool is in the same position. So it represents, yeah, I'm sure it is you. It is you. But the Eight of Cups represents, you ready to leave any situation that needs too much work. And that's the correct way that you need to have. If the person is a complete mess, it's best idea that, I mean, if you want to do that, cool, I respect it, cool, but it's probably the easiest way for you to stay away from BS is to not even jump in those waters and try to swim. And then the thing is that then you have the uh the Strength, which represents, but also too, don't allow this ideology to let you to leave an individual so quickly, to the point where you end up misjudging them in favor of thinking that they're not going to be any good. If you leave somebody, you better be making the correct decision, right? So you have to be very mindful about whom you're leaving. Okay. And then you have the Hermit. The Hermit does represent Virgo. Yes, this is true. However, the Hermit can be on some BS. All right. Now, the Hermit, like I said before, is one of these trickery cards. Okay, Aquarius, it can represent in this tarot deck that the person thinks that they're smarter than you. Person thinks that they are outsmarting you, but the person is by themselves, and the person doesn't really have a whole lot of friends, right? A lot of the people that you may be dating, getting to know, doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of friends, and that can be detrimental specifically for them, because it's not that they can't get friends to come towards them or gravitate towards them. What it is that they don't have a whole lot of friends, because their reputation speaks for itself, of them being grimy and untrustworthy. And then you have the Justice, which represents, because they try to play more of an important role in the people's lives that they're getting to know. And this could be a specific person, or this can be represented as the dating pool just in general. So you Aquarius really need to pay attention to that. All right, that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. I'm trying to get this YouTube channel to 2,500 subscribers by the end of the year. Currently, I'm at 2,397 subscribers. Keep smashing that subscribe button. Keep clicking that like button. Keep liaisoning that notification, and don't forget to stroke the all option, so that way you can get notified whenever it is that I upload these videos. Peace.